Alright guys, in today's video we are going to be talking about the latest Xbox event that happened yesterday, and I know my live reaction to it is up on the channel, but it's over an hour long, and I know not everybody's going to want to watch that, so I wanted to make sure to talk about this in a shorter form video and also talk about it in a less reactionary way where I'm all worked up. But we definitely have to talk about this because there's absolutely no doubt that Microsoft really dropped the ball hard on this one, and I think it's safe to say they lost a lot of the momentum that they had going into next generation already, which is extremely unfortunate, although maybe not all that surprising when you think about it. That doesn't mean that it's all doom and gloom though, but there's no doubt that this was a big misstep on their part. So we are going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the PlayStation 5, not only because, you know, this naturally makes you start to think about how Sony's showing is going to be. Is Sony going to be doing pretty much the exact opposite of this? But also because we have a little bit of an update on when we can expect Sony's first big PlayStation 5 showing, and we have Jason Schreier once again just flat out saying and confirming that what he knows, based off of what he knows right now, granted, he did let us know that it could change at literally any moment due to everything that's going on in the world, but based off of what he knows, either early to mid-June is when Sony is planning to do something. So that's when we can expect it, and it seems like that's a safe bet at this point, considering, again, this is what we've been hearing, and it's coming from Jason Schreier. He usually is pretty good with this type of stuff. So we're going to talk about that as well. But before we go any further, could you do me a favor? Be sure to hit the like button to help the video out, and be sure to hit the subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future content. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about this Xbox event, there's a few problems with it. The biggest problem, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, is the fact that it was called a gameplay event. There were supposed to be gameplay reveals, and anybody who watched this, you will see very clearly that there was pretty much no gameplay, at least not to a significant degree. I think maybe there was a trailer here or a trailer there that showed little snippets of gameplay, but people were anticipating that they were going to see maybe 5 to potentially even 15-minute gameplay demonstrations. Maybe 15 minutes is a little bit too long, but at the very least 5 minutes of just raw gameplay, at least with your headliner game, which was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This was the game that at the bare minimum people were expecting to see some solid gameplay of, and we didn't. I mean, they were really hyping this up, and I've seen some people try to defend Microsoft here, saying that this is our fault for getting our expectations too high. We should have realized this, but I think you're completely wrong. I think that this is 100% Microsoft's fault. I've also seen some people say that this can't be Microsoft's fault because it's up to the third-party developers, and I do agree with that. Microsoft can't force third-party developers to do anything, but if Microsoft, surely they were aware of the content that was going to be shown, and they should have, somebody there anyway in charge, should have realized that there's actually really no significant gameplay here. Maybe we shouldn't call it a gameplay reveal. Maybe we shouldn't hype this up as the big next-gen, first next-gen proper gameplay reveal. Because, listen, people are very hungry right now for next gen. They are very excited, and we've been waiting very patiently, and they are very eager to see those big games, whether it's third party or first party. It doesn't matter at this point. We just want to see something that just blows us away. And I don't think that's, asking for too much at this point in time, especially when you think of how ironic this show is. And another problem with it, putting the whole gameplay thing aside, although this kind of is intertwined with it a little bit, you also think about the fact that you're talking about the world's most powerful console here. You're talking about 12 T-flops of compute power, right? I mean, the Tower of Power, whatever people want to call it. This is the momentum that Microsoft has built up with this console in a good way, in my opinion. Again, this is where I think that they were on a good trajectory here, on an upward trajectory, and they basically just went crashing down almost immediately. Because basically you have the world's most powerful console, you're hyping up how powerful it is, and this is its biggest selling point easily, right? At least for Microsoft as of right now, and this is your first showing. And it's no offense to the games that were shown, it's no offense to the developers, but people were expecting those bigger AAA titles, maybe like the new Batman game, maybe seeing some Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay running on the Xbox Series X, Maybe we were hoping to see Elden Ring, maybe we were hoping to see just something, right? More Dying Light 2, something along those lines. We didn't see any of that. Granted, it was nice to see a bunch of new games announced, but these were more AA games. Nothing here really screamed AAA to me, and nothing here was really, just overall that exciting. At least not in the sense that, like, oh yeah, this really gets me excited for next generation, and just look at these next generation games. There was one game in particular that I saw a lot of people were pretty hyped for. I'm trying to find it here. It was the first game that was shown off, and I think it was called Bright Memory Infinite. It was like a first-person shooter, but it was like kind of cyberpunk looking a little bit. It looked like a combination of Titanfall and like Doom gameplay, which was pretty cool. And I just found out that apparently this game was made by a single person, which is pretty awesome when you think about it. We also have, and this is another really bizarre situation to me. We have the game Scorn, which is a horror game, and I don't know if this is a new game. I think this has been out based off of what I heard, but it's now going to be coming to Xbox. So we have the horror game Scorn and the horror game The Medium, which I think is made by the same people who made Layers of Fear, and it has the composer of Silent Hill, which is cool. Both of these games are apparently Xbox console exclusives as of right now. They're most likely timed exclusives, but again, who decided to leave that out? Because that's a pretty important thing. I think there might even be another game or two here that's also console exclusive, and this is just where I'm like, this is an Xbox dedicated event. I know these are third parties, but why would you not take just a moment to let Xbox fans who are tuning in to know that these games are timed? You don't even have to call them timed exclusives. You can just call them console exclusive, because I think they're either on PC already or they will be coming to PC. To me, that's just a huge L right there on their part. Like, why would they do that? I don't understand the thinking behind that. But look, if you go over to the actual videos here, like this video that Xbox has uploaded, it's about 27 minutes long. It says first look Xbox Series X gameplay, 17,000 likes, over 22,000 dislikes. Okay, that tells you a lot right there. If you actually go over to the stream itself, what was kind of bizarre about this is the stream apparently was taken down temporarily, and it did go back up, and people noticed that when it went back up, a lot of dislikes were removed. I don't know how they were able to do that. I really don't know. But even when you look at this, even with that in mind, it has 43,000 likes and over 35,000 dislikes, which is very telling. I know there's people who want to defend this. There's people who don't want to hear people being upset with the Xbox already. But to me, this is just a clear indication that they had every opportunity to not only impress people here, right, and just get people genuinely excited, but this was a huge opportunity for them to kind of like, deliver a significant blow to Sony without even really having to try. But instead, what they did is they somehow inadvertently made people more excited for PlayStation with this event. I kid you not. Maybe it's because I'm a PlayStation-centric channel here. I could be wrong, but I've seen a lot of people basically just saying how, they're looking at the new Last of Us trailer that came out, and they're basically saying that looked better than anything that was shown off during this entire next-gen Xbox event. And to me, that's a problem. Sony already has their own PR nightmare going on here with The Last of Us Part 2, but when your showing is so bad and so poor that it then suddenly, like, you basically fixed Sony's problem for them, and now you have your own PR problem because of the way you decided to handle this, this just brings me back to 2017, 2018, 2019 Xbox, where I'm like, did you guys not learn anything? Because I really had, high hopes that these days were behind us. And this is where I've been giving Xbox a lot of credit, where they've been doing a fantastic job with their next generation console, the rollout of information, the specs, obviously. It's still a great console. You can't take that away from it. And them showing Hellblade 2, and then now we're at this point. And I know that there's a lot of people that are going to defend this and say, well, this isn't the big July event. Didn't you hear they're going to have their first party event in July? And I agree. There's still plenty of time left for Microsoft to gain back that momentum, but what I will say is that I really hope for Microsoft's sake that what they have ready and planned, or what they have planned to show on, in July on this big event, I really hope for their sake it really is some big stuff, because this was not good. So all I can assume, if I'm going to give Microsoft the benefit of the doubt, which I'm not doing, but I'm just saying for those who want to feel like this maybe wasn't as bad as some people are making it sound, if you want to give Microsoft the benefit of the doubt, you can look at it as, okay, maybe this was just really a small inside Xbox thing they wanted to do, and their fatal flaw here was basically hyping it up too much and using the word gameplay too much. Okay, gameplay reveal. Two big mistakes right there. If you want to believe that they still have some really big things to show, which I hope they do, fingers crossed, then they're definitely saving it for that July event, because that's basically going to be their E3 replacement. So, we're going to have to see then. All I know is that this did not do them any favors. This did not help them. And this, in my opinion, is a case of people can complain about how quiet and how silent Sony has been up until this point. But you know what? I will take Sony's silence over massive disappointment like this any day. I'd rather them wait until they truly have something significant to show and reveal, before they do it. Like I'd rather just know that when they decide to do it, it's going to be because it's going to be something significant, not something like this. So one last thing I want to mention before moving on to the last topic here is, over on my channel, I conducted a poll. Now, it's been up for about 18 hours. I thought it would have more votes by now, but it has about 11,000 votes. And I asked you guys to vote on what you thought of this. Like, did you think it was very good? Did you think it was just good? Did you think it was okay? Did you think it was bad? Or did you think it was very bad? Now, only 3% of people voting out of this 11,000 said they thought it was very good. 5% said they thought it was good. 36% said they thought it was okay. 19% said they thought it was bad. And 37% thought it was very bad. Now, I find it interesting that more people decided to go with okay rather than bad, but yet we have the most votes here, 37% very bad. Now, maybe, again, that's because I'm a PlayStation-centric channel, or maybe that's just how bad it is. Now, if you want to know whether or not this is, like, skewed, like, oh, you are a PlayStation channel, so clearly everybody's going to choose the worst option. Well, if we go on to Twitter here, right, and you just got to give me a second to bring it up, because I'm doing this live as I'm recording, but Jeff Keighley, I'm sure most of you know who he is, he actually put out a poll of his own. And I'd say he's pretty unbiased, like he's not going to, anybody who's following him, I don't think he has like a PlayStation-centric following or an Xbox-centric following. He put out something similar. He asked people to grade the Xbox event A, B, C, or D or lower. Over 42% of these votes, and it's worth noting that there's over 80,000 votes, so that's a lot of people voting. 42.6% gave it a D or lower. Okay, so there you go. We also have 27% giving it a C, 20% giving it a B, and only 10.4% giving it an A. How anybody could give this an A or a very good rating, I don't know. I really don't. But to finish off this video, I just want to let you guys know that Jason Schreier, over on the Press Start podcast, no, not my podcast, don't get it confused with Press X podcast, but Press Start podcast, they had him on as a guest, and they straight up asked him, like, can you confirm the June event or the May event, or when Sony's going to, reveal something. And it says here, in an interview with Press Start, Schreier is asked whether or not there's any credibility to the rumors in question. He responds by saying, as far as I know, right now, Sony is still on track to do at least one thing by early June, let's say, or by mid-June, let's say. He then went on to explain that he almost doesn't want to say that because things are literally changing day by day, and while right now maybe it could be set well, not in stone, but it could be set that Sony's planning on doing something on June 4th, we could get to June 1st and they decide, you know what, we have to push it back a little bit now. We're not ready, or some things have changed due to everything that's going on in the world. That's a possibility. So that's why we probably, we've been strung along with all these different rumors, because there's probably some credibility to at least some of them, but things are changing, things are in flux, and the same goes for the same goes for Microsoft. But actually, I missed this part here. It says there's an update. It says Jason Schreier added a little bit more clarification to his comments on the Reset Error forum. I said there will be something PS5 related happening by mid-June, unless it's bumped because of everything that's going on right now. I didn't say the PS5 event because I don't know how many things they're doing. Make of that what you will. So there you go. A little bit more clarification here. It sounds like basically he knows Sony's going to do something, but he's not, he doesn't know what exactly the contents could be. So this could basically be maybe him saying that in June we'll get the PS5 reveal and teardown that maybe we thought we would get this month. And then in July, that's when Sony will have their big PS5 event, because there's no doubt in my mind that, especially after seeing what Microsoft did here, Sony's like, we got to go big. I think that's just how Sony always is. Like, they always have that mentality when they're going to have their big event, especially when you're talking about revealing a next generation console, a new PlayStation console. But I think now more than ever, they probably feel that way. So, yeah, that's pretty much what Jason Schreier has to say. And so what I take from this is that we'll get something in June. Maybe they'll drop the console just like they dropped the controller, and then they'll do a teardown of the console, which would be awesome. And then they'll let us know that in July, that's when we can expect the big game showcase. And yes, big game showcase with actual gameplay. I find it funny that people complain about Sony's cinematic games and they're too cutscene heavy. And yet, if you look at Sony's history, they're the ones that pretty much in all of their major events, they literally have 10 to 15 minute gameplay demos where the developer's literally playing it live on stage. It doesn't get any better than that. I'm hoping we'll see more of that with this big PS5 event. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. It turned out a little bit longer than I wanted it to. At this point, I'm going to ask you to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I will be very interested to see what you guys have to say. Again, leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload. And feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.